Okay. I had to make some more room. Clearly, there's more to release. So, at the end of the video, I was getting emotional. I was saying, I know that all is well, and I know I'm being guided to this next best version of myself, and I must release the judgment. I have to focus my attention on the things that I do want. That was another message that we had, right? Let go of the negative self-talk and our attention on the things that we don't want, and focus on the things that we do want. I think that was a message from Celebration Spiritual Center on Sunday. So it's just constant confirmation. Yeah. I'm also processing this news about this beautiful sis, Tennille Faust. I heard the news of her transition this morning. We performed in Greensboro, North Carolina together. And I remember then that she had some health challenges. And I just remember her resilience, how funny and giving she was. And it was heartbreaking to hear that news. But then again, it was more confirmation to remain hopeful and to keep going. And how important it is to do what we love to do, because tomorrow is not promised. And so as I'm re-envisioning what I want for my life, I know that it's important to remember what I've fought so hard for. I'm gonna just allow myself this space to talk because I cleared it up, right? I don't know how many of you know my story, whoever's watching right now. But growing up, I was pushed to do math and science because that would make for a viable career. And I wanted to please the people who were taking care of me and who loved me. And so that's what I did. And you know, the compromise I made was that, all right, I know I do love to help people. So yeah, I'll become a doctor. That's, you know, that'll be good. People who, you know, they like to hear that. When you say you're gonna be a doctor, it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. And you get a lot of praise for wanting to be a doctor. And so I went along that path. When I was in high school, I was a biochemistry major with a bunch of other people who were on the track to probably go to medical school. Around my junior year, I did a program with Johns Hopkins University, and I was in California, and I did a pharmacology program, and they took us to the hospital. And I was like, there's absolutely no way I could be a doctor and have to come to a hospital every day. I didn't want that for my life. And so I went back to school, high school, and there was another workshop that I was a part of, and there was a woman there, black woman. She was a chemical engineer, and she was showing us the lotion that she made, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I mean, I like science enough. I know I'm pretty good at it. I could probably, make that work for myself. So I ended up going to North Carolina A&T, Eggy Pride, North Carolina A&T State University as a chemical engineering major. And my sophomore year, I did a co-op with Kimberly Clark in Chester, Pennsylvania. I took a semester off, and I worked as a process engineer. And I could basically do whatever it is you ask me to do. I'll figure it out. And I did a great job. And they wanted me to come back and work in Georgia and all of this. And I was like, no. There's no way I could do this with my life. I mean, we were in meetings at 7 o'clock in the morning to talk about the cuts of tissue, like how to make the machines work better, to get the perfect cut of tissue so that they could save money. I didn't give a shit about that. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna spend 3 more years in college and then the rest of my life doing something that I'm not passionate about. And so, I mean, I know I wouldn't necessarily have to work at a tissue company, but I realized that environment wasn't at all where I wanted to spend the bulk of my time. And so that was another crisis moment in my life. I went back to school and I was like, well, what am I going to do now? And I took acting for non-theater majors course. I took a sociology course in child welfare for my electives. And I, just wanted to give myself a chance to see what else I could possibly do. And in that acting class, I was like, wow, people go to school and actually do something that they want to do, that they actually love to do. I couldn't believe the way the theater majors were complaining. I'm like, y'all don't have any idea what I have to go through. So I ended up changing my major from chemical engineering to chemistry because I figured, all right, I have all these science credits. I could graduate with a chemistry degree and teach if I wanted to, if anything. The theater professors were encouraging me to change my major, but I was like, oh no, I don't think I could do that. And then I think if I changed my major, I would have to stay some extra time in school. At that age, it seemed like the end of the world. But I ended up graduating with a degree in chemistry. And when I graduated, I went to look for a job at a lab. And at the same time, I had started performing in the area, like professional theaters. And I go for the job at the lab. They call me for a second interview. I walked through that facility and my soul was just like, no, you do not want to be here. You do not want to be here. And I finished out the interview, but I just couldn't even fake it. It was just like, I knew I wasn't going to get the job. I was actually hoping that they wouldn't call me back. And they didn't. And I ended up performing and realized, oh, I'm paying my bills doing something that I actually love to do. Maybe I could actually consider a career as an artist. And so I still felt like I needed some kind of security blanket. So I ended up applying to grad school. I went to grad school in New York City, and I got my master's in acting, and I performed theater all over the country, some places outside of the country, when I was performing with Norwegian Cruise Line. And I came back to New York, and I was about to be 30. I came back to New York with a whole boyfriend turned fiance within the next 6 months, and then a husband. He was from Nicaragua. And yeah, that relationship probably should have stayed on the ship, but I went ahead with it. I committed. I was like, okay, I'm feeling like I was tired from the cruise gig, and just wanting to be home. And so I was like, I want to spend time being home. And I took a full-time job teaching, because I've always taught alongside of performing. Teaching is actually a passion of mine as well. So it never felt like I was giving up all of myself when I would teach. So I took the full-time job so that I could support us while he was figuring himself out. And in that relationship, I learned that I was giving away a piece of myself, because I was with someone who could not handle my shine. And I realized all of the ways he was trying to make me play small. And then realizing in this marriage that the huge lesson was we're all each other's mirrors, and we attract who we are. And I remember Pastor Greg telling us this in that one counseling session that we did. And I'm like, shit, he's my mirror. He's crazy. I'm not crazy. But what was being mirrored back to me was my own insecurities, my own failure to really respect myself and who I am, because I allowed myself to be with someone who didn't respect me. So I got out of that situation. It took me some time. A lot happened in that situation. Maybe sometime I'll share that story. I don't know how much detail I want to go into with that. It was crazy. I let that go, and I started piecing myself back together and re-envisioning what I wanted for my life and for my next relationship. And that was the point. I had a couple of situations after that marriage, and then I feel weird about saying people's names on here, but I met the person who encouraged me to move to LA. I had done a lot of theater, and I just felt like it was time for something new. I wanted to challenge myself, and so I went to LA to do more film and TV. I left him in Brooklyn, but I always thought that he was gonna make his way over to LA. Thought like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna blaze this trail for us, because he was into music, and like that would be a great place for him to be. And so I went to LA, did my thing. I did all the things rather quickly. I just had the thought that the huge lesson that I had to learn was in the way I would have to manage my finances to support these big visions that I had for myself. We'll get into that. But moved to LA, did a lot of film and TV, connected with a lot of beautiful people, started to build tribe, and I also went on this deep spiritual journey. I found more of myself there. I also had to go through the hard process of releasing that relationship, releasing the illusion of the relationship, because he was never coming to LA to be with me. So I had to pick myself up again and repair my heart. And it was not easy. So fast forward to around the time of the pandemic, right? I'm in LA. At this point, I was single. I ended up having like maybe one major relationship after the Brooklyn dude. And that ended, and so now fast forwarding to the pandemic. At this point, I had shifted my relationship to the whole entertainment industry. I had dropped my agent and my manager because I realized that they couldn't support where I was headed. They needed me to just act and make them some money, and I was not about doing projects that I didn't feel aligned with just for a paycheck. So I was really like falling in love with the work I was doing as a coach, what had evolved to become authentic expression coaching, and realizing that my passion was for healing and sharing all that I had learned to help others be able to speak their truths and be their authentic selves, and just be whoever they wanted to be in this world, right? So the pandemic hits, I'm there in LA, single, acting wasn't happening, so it wasn't even really a possibility to audition in the same way. I know there were still projects going on, but it just didn't feel like what I was supposed to be doing. And anyway, Spirit called me to come to New Orleans, and my whole vision for coming here was that I would finally meet my king, and we would be married, and we'd have children, and we'd build our empire together. And I dated maybe one or two people. And I'd strengthened my boundaries. It's like, look, I'm not gonna waste time with anybody who's not about that vision that I had for myself. So I didn't waste time. I just let the universe know, like, no, look, send that back, okay? I don't want no situationship. I don't want somebody who's gonna be in and out. I'm not trying to do no polyamorous situation. it's just not for me. I just don't have the energy for that. This is just not what I wanted. And so when I met, I don't want to say his name here either, but when I met who I thought was my king, the person that, yes, we shared this vision together, that we would build our empire and have this beautiful black family. It was devastating to let that go. To realize that I was with someone who I don't think could also really handle the fullness of who I am. And so we clashed a lot, because at this point, I was very clear on who I am and what I wanted. So we reached a point where we had to separate. And I think, I don't know, I've had to re-record this video so many times, but I think I mentioned that at this point we are now talking and figuring out how we could possibly work together. And I am grappling with if that's what I want. I'm grappling with the decision that I need to make moving forward. So, I don't know, Spirit just called me to share all of this, to release it, to do what? Just keeps popping up to me, to speak my truth, to just share and speak my truth about where I'm at right now. I'm working on my businesses. It's hard. I've asked to be fully self-employed. I set a goal to be fully self-employed. And I'm sitting in that right now. I'm sitting in that right now because I refuse to accept anything less than I'm worth. And I'm having to really embrace the unknown and really, this is bothering me. Let me just fix it and leave it alone. Okay. Really embrace the unknown and just re-envision what I want my life to be at this point. It feels good, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, look, I'm being called to this Dream Oracle deck. I'd actually pulled a card from here in one of the videos I did earlier. If you made it this far, let's see what message our beautiful collective needs to hear. Let me not even get into that first. Hold on, let me release the energy of all that I just let go of right now. So let's let everything go. Settle in to wherever you are. We're gonna do let's do 3 self-energy clearing breaths. All right. Place your palms one on top of the other, facing up. Put them down by your belly button. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Sweep the energy back. Place them back again by your belly button. Inhale, draw the palms up. Sweep the old energy back. Last one. Inhale through the nose. Sweep the energy back. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, angels, ancestors, our spirit guides, for being here, for using me to deliver the messages that we need to hear today. Okay? What we need to know? What message of divine and unconditional love do we need to hear today? It's all right to be right where you are. That's what I'm hearing. Sit in what's uncomfortable. Sit in what's confusing. The answers are within. Okay? Ooh, 2. Yeah, baby. Dance, 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 and move to the rhythm of your soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. And, ooh, fire. Take responsibility for your power. Let me, Ooh. Yeah. Take responsibility for your power. Use all of your gifts. Do what you love to do. And share it. Okay, that's what came through intuitively. Well, let's see. Dance, baby. Twist, shout, spin, and twirl in a way that makes your heart sing. You are discovering your unique groove that inspires your every move. The sensual, magical, ecstatic, freedom-seeking being that you are intuitively knows how to do this with grace. The more you sync up to this fluid rhythm within, the easier it is to find your perfect meter, rhyme, and timing. Allow your whole soul to move through your human physical experience in such a way that no one gets their toes stepped on and everyone is invited to participate. Yes. The mantra for this card is, life is my dance partner, and I let it lead each step, each groove, and each move I make. I love that. Yes. Just dance. All right, fire. Fire is an ancient symbol of power. I'm going to show this again. Fire is an ancient symbol of power, and with power comes the need for responsibility, maturity, and balance. Find a safe and contained place to express the unabashed zeal of your heart and the scorching embers of your deepest emotions, whether they be passion, anger, or lust. Become willing to burn away, release, and let go of all things that no longer serve your highest expression, so that you can ultimately be present to the gold that remains. Your feelings may be hot right now, so much so that you fear they may start a forest fire. Most people extinguish their light because they don't know how to take the heat. That won't happen to you if you unleash your power mindfully. Didn't I say that the mantra, I marvel at the miracle of alchemy as I transform and awaken to the full radiance of my destiny. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be who you truly are. Don't allow anybody to hold you back. Don't allow anybody to have you playing small because they're insecure. Okay? Remember who you are. Remember why you came here. Ooh. And do what you love to do. Dream. Never give up on your dream. Yes. Thank you, Shirley Ralph. I'm remembering her speech from the Emmys, right? Never give up on your dream. Okay. All right. I think that's it. For now. All right. Like the video, share it with someone you love. Subscribe to the channel. Help us grow. And yeah. I'll see you next time. I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a witness.